No matter what, right now you can't lose weight. Other people seem to, so your metabolism must be just terrible. It's slow or even non-existent because you can't even look at chocolate without gaining 10 pounds. You want a faster metabolism because you're loosely sure that there is a correlation between having a fast one and being thinner. So you Google how to boost your metabolism and 37 pyramid schemes flash up with a product for metabolism boosting supplements, as well as another 40 different superfoods and also a dozen metabolic conditioning workouts that you should be doing to speed up your metabolism and torch fat. So, where are we at? We need to buy expensive supplements, exhaust ourselves in our exercise sessions, and we have to drink algae. Essentially, we just need to work harder. Great game plan. I also really get that as much as you want to have a faster metabolism, you really want to lose weight. And so therefore you lean in even harder to the eat less, exercise harder, because that's all you're ever told to do. The thing is, those two things combined make your metabolism work less efficiently. Now, it is entirely possible to speed up your metabolism. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition coach, and I help really seasoned dieters go from eating tiny amounts of calories and doing a lot of workouts to doing much less workouts and eating an awful lot more, which is actually metabolism boosting. And even though it's like the other way around, they have huge favorable body composition changes and they can eat more calories. Hello? If you actually want to learn some tips and hacks to boost your metabolism, stick to the end of this video because I'm gonna teach you. And you don't have to eat sea kelp or do HIIT exercises. Before we go into learning how to boost yours, I think it's really useful if we should just take a moment to break down metabolism, what it is, why yours isn't broken, and why yours is in fact pretty awesome. Metabolism can be really conveniently broken down into catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism releases energy and anabolism needs energy. Metabolism is the process by which your body converts the food you eat into energy. And the energy we consume from food and drink is measured in the form of calories. I'm probably teaching you to suck eggs here, but stick with me. I have a whole video breaking down the ins and outs of metabolism, calories, where calories are in food, and the energy balance equation. So head there if you want to have like a more in-depth overview, but you can look at that later. I'll cover everything that's relevant for this video right now. Think of your metabolism as being a level of how many calories you could, should, are consuming every day. And how many calories you need, should be, are eating are dictated by your basal metabolic rate and your overall lifestyle. Your BMR is basically your body at rest. Like without even doing anything, your body is doing a bunch of really cool things. And it's all done automatically without you even knowing. And that obviously requires energy. But the thing is, we do much more than just exist. We eat food and our body needs energy to break down and utilize and digest that food. So in essence, your body is burning calories just to process the food that it's eating. There are some foods that require more energy, and this is known as the thermic effect of food. And this is why I think people can get lost down a bit of a wormhole of looking for metabolism boosting foods. We also move, which also requires calories. And we move in a couple of different ways, don't we? We move in structured exercise. So, you know, when you go to the gym or do your run or play tennis, whatever it is that floats your boat. And this is known as the thermic effect of exercise. And we also do other movement, which is not necessarily intended movement. So things like fidgeting, yawning, sneezing, twitching, also different lifestyle choices like taking the lift instead of, taking the stairs instead of the lift. And this is known as NEAT. So altogether, we have energy needs, meaning we need calories to support our basal metabolic rate and to support our lifestyle on top of that. All this together is our total daily energy expenditure. People say TDEE. Here we've got the energy balance equation. We've got calories in versus your basal metabolic rate, the thermic effect of food, the thermic effect of activity, and your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So why is your metabolism slow? If you were like the majority of women who end up working with me, the chances are you're right. Your metabolism is slow, or certainly slower or less optimal than what it could be. Chronic dieting, whether it be from doing 101 different diets, juice diets, meal replacement diets, food group eliminations, poorly done keto, intermittent fasting, juicing diets, elimination diets, the bare bone reliance of all of these diets is calorie restriction, chronically returning to low energy, meaning low calorie eating. And some of us have been doing this for years. Team this up with exhaustive exercise where every workout is a marathon training program or a HIIT session just to burn as many calories as possible. Little to no emphasis on sleep or stress reduction, and a huge reliance on stimulants to get through like a 75-hour long day. And then of course in the evening pouring ourselves a giant glass of wine. All this combined has a massive effect on our metabolism. The thing is with our body, everything's linked. So I could go off on 1,000 different tangents. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to focus on the impact of chronic low calorie dieting and really high demanding workouts, because all of it together is a recipe for disaster. The thing that people don't realize is, got a bit of a cold coming on, I think. Here it is. Your body is a homeostasis machine. Homeostasis basically means just to keep steady or the same. So when we talk about homeostasis in our human body, your body is just constantly monitoring and maintaining its own state. It's always trying to keep its blood pressure the same. It's always defending itself from viruses. Always regulating its water levels, as well as managing things like its blood glucose level and its pH levels and its energy levels. That's the one that I want to talk to you about now. Our body is always trying to conserve energy. In thermodynamic terms, metabolism is the thing that maintains the balance. Every time you go on a diet, your body alters the way it responds to the lower energy intake. And I think just so we're clear, every time I say energy, I'm also saying calorie. So if I say calorie, energy, the two are used together. Your body adjusts its basal metabolic rate to compensate for undereating because you're just taking in less energy. In basic terms, it will start down regulating. It will slow down the rate in which it burns calories in order to conserve energy, and it will far rather do this than eliminate fat to replace its lost energy intake. So let's say you've got somebody who eats 2,000 calories and they maintain their weight on 2,000 calories. This means that their TDEE is 2,000 calories. Now, if they were to slash 500 calories off of 2,000 calories and start eating at 1,500 calories, they will lose weight. But at some point, they will stop losing weight because their metabolic rate has started to slow down over time from 2,000 calories to meet them at now 1,500 calories. See where I'm going with this? They stop losing weight simply because they're just not in a deficit anymore. They are simply now living off of 1,500 calories. So the second they start eating more than 1,500 calories, the weight starts to pile on again. But we can't really look at calories in isolation. Typically, if people are slashing their calories quite dramatically, they're doing it in quite a restrictive way. And so they start eating more to compensate for the fact they're being quite restrictive, and the metabolism hasn't got a chance to upregulate. So please remember, metabolic adaptation or metabolic slowdown is a real thing. It's a survival mechanism. So think of yourself as being a master adapter. Your body can and will strive to adapt to anything. And we adapt because your body's first rule that it's trying to live by is to conserve its energy. And this is where everything gets messed up in dieting, because people make largely uninformed guesses of how many calories they should slash. And they don't realize that calories at the start of your diet are not the same as the calories at the end of your diet. You'll have to drop your calories progressively, because over time your deficit is going to become less and less and less as your metabolism downregulates. Your metabolism is going to come and meet you where you spend the majority of your time. I have to go out, so you're coming with me. So the first tip I want to share with you to speed up your metabolism is to reverse diet. Basically what this means is stop trying to diet, stop trying to lose weight, take an extended diet break. We all too often put weight and aesthetics over actual health and longevity of our weight loss goals. And honestly, it's just making people fatter. We have absolutely been conditioned to believe that it's normal to always be on a diet and always striving to lose weight. It's not. And we often only ever even consider working with a personal trainer or a nutrition coach because we want to lose weight, rather than looking at the bigger picture. Prioritize boosting your metabolism before you start trying to lose weight by having a reverse diet. Now, there's a big association with reverse dieting as being something that people do after they diet. So you diet down and then you have to reverse diet back up. But I look at reverse dieting as actually being a really strong consideration before you actually start dieting in the first place. So kind of look at it as a bit of a prehab protocol. It's up to you. What would you rather do? Would you rather like to spend your life in a battle trying to live at 1200 calories? Or would you like to take just a couple months or just a few months, a handful months out of pursuing fat loss and actually see if you can push your calories up to 1900, 2000 calories. I've got clients who've pushed upwards of 2500 calories when they originally thought 1300 calories was where they should be. And this is totally possible because of metabolic adaptation. I mean, think about it, there's always two sides to every coin. So if our metabolism can slow down, it can down-regulate, you better be sure that it can up-regulate. Reverse dieting is just about one of my absolute favourite things that I coach my clients on, but it is quite a nuanced, long-winded subject which is deserving of its own videos. If you are interested in knowing a little bit more about the reasons why we would reverse diet or the practicalities in reverse dieting, then just leave me a comment below and we'll cover it. It's cold and windy out. Hopefully you can hear me. Just as if you were dieting down and doing a long continuous diet, you would have to constantly be dropping your calories in order to keep maintaining a calorie deficit. You're doing exactly the same, but you're doing it in reverse. It's too cold and blustery out, so I think I'm going to go back in the car. What you'll be doing in a reverse diet is slowly over time, as you're keeping everything else the same and stable, you're just going to be adding a few calories each week. I would say go for like 50 to 100 calories depending where you are in your own journey every other week. Now, to my mind, tracking macros is going to make things so much easier when you're doing a reverse diet. However, you can reverse diet quite easily without tracking your macros at all, and you can just simply do that by eating largely the same foods and adjusting your portion sizes so they increase slowly over time, or just adding an extra snack in. The idea of a reverse diet is trying to maintain the weight you're at. It's not about actively trying to increase weight. However, let's say you're 70 kilos at the beginning of your reverse diet. At the end of your reverse diet, you're 71 kilos, but you're now eating 500, 600, sometimes in some cases like 800 or 900 calories a day more. Then what is a 2.5 pound difference, really? In the grand scheme of things. If you are implementing a reverse diet in conjunction with some of the other tips that I'm going to share with you right now, then the weight gain won't necessarily be from fat gain. And I'm going to say this until I'm dead. I swear to God, I'll be dead and it might as well just be written on my gravestone. Weight loss and fat loss are not the same. Hey Max, you okay? I need to go shopping. Did you miss me? Oh. Don't tell anybody that I love that. This is Sifi from the future because I completely forgot to film this section and I am under the weather with a stomach bug. So let's just work through this together. Whew. Right, when it comes to calories, you will hear all the time, it's calories in versus calories out, and this is weight loss. A calorie is a unit of heat. And in energy terms, a calorie is just that, it's a calorie. However, we get a calorie into our body by eating food. And food is made up of macronutrients and micronutrients and, key word here, nutrients. And certain macronutrients will do certain things for our bodies and other macronutrients will do other things for our bodies. And there are also going to be some foods that have a calorie amount to it that are more nutrient dense than others. Now, to my mind, it doesn't take a genius to work out that if somebody is eating 2,000 calories a day made up of birthday cake, hula hoops and beer, it's going to have a very different body composition from somebody who is eating 2,000 calories made up of mostly whole nutrient dense foods, vegetables, lean proteins, nuts, seeds, all sorts. You get the picture. However, if that said person eating that 2,000 calories dropped the same food style by 500 calories, they would lose weight because they are in a deficit. It's so much more nuanced than that. Putting the nutritional differences between a more whole food based diet to that of a more processed diet. Some foods require more energy to digest, transport, utilize, metabolize, store, and this is called the thermic effect of food. Protein provides 4 calories per gram and its thermic effect is 20 to 30%. Fat at 9 calories per gram, which has got a thermic effect of anywhere between 0 and 3%. Carbohydrates provide 4 calories per gram and its thermic effect is around 5 to 10%. We cannot use the thermic effect of food in isolation to track our macros. It just doesn't translate over well. When it comes back to our TDEE needs, we can go back and look at the energy balance equation, and really the thermic effect of food only equates to about 10%. So my advice is to really not get overly caught up on it. What I'd encourage you to do is to think about protein and upping the amount of protein you eat as being like the one big dietary change that you can do. Protein is the key macronutrient, so therefore the key calories that go towards building and maintaining lean muscle tissue. And it's especially handy when we are dieting and therefore in a deficit. We want to always be encouraging growth and maintenance of our lean muscle tissue. And we want to actually lose overall body fat, not overall weight, which includes muscle tissue. Protein is also the most satiating macronutrient you can eat, and it's really hard to actually overeat protein. I mean, think about it. Nobody's ever complaining about eating too much chicken breast, right? Typically women, I would say certainly the women who come to me for coaching initially start out by just not eating enough protein. And then they only start eating more protein because they banged into Coach Google their macronutrient needs and it spat out a generic number, which is also still too low. And that's typically down to the fact that the overall calorie amount they've been given is also too low. It doesn't mean you have to eat a high protein diet or only eat protein, just eat more of it. If you think about a typical breakfast, you've got cereal for breakfast, sandwich for lunch, biscuits for snacks, and then, crisps and wine to unwind in the evening, and possibly a pasta dinner. As for how much protein you should eat, I can't really answer that. Everybody is individual and everybody is going to respond differently to different protein amounts. So I'm going to give you a real ballpark that you can start from. I would suggest calculating your protein needs by starting at about 1.2 grams per kilo of body weight. I would go with that number if you're pretty sedentary as a person. And then if you're a bit more of an active person, I would push it to around 2 grams per kilo of body weight. And certainly if you were trying to actively gain more muscle tissue, then you could push it a little bit higher. So on a 70 kilo woman, that's going to look like around 84 grams to 140 grams per day. And if you don't track your macros, keep it really simple for yourself. These are some examples of how much protein there are in typical foods. So just look at incorporating meals that factor these in. We've also got things like eggs, chicken, beef, salmon, cod, quinoa, edamame, whey protein powders, vegan protein powders, tofu, prawns, cottage cheese, shellfish. You've got game meats like pheasant and venison. So many different things that we can actually add to our diet and have an altogether more varied diet. We're going to go back to past Sifi, who doesn't look like she's had the life force sucked out of her. Okay, come on then, buddy. Let's go. I am not here to bash on cardio. I love cardio. It's great for so many things. I mean, respiratory health, your cardiovascular system, for mindfulness. When it comes to weight loss, you have to be really clear as to why you're using cardio. And by cardio, I'm really referring to running, relentless HIIT sessions, anything where you're turning your exercise session into a sweat fest. So with my typical clientele, people who come to work with me, they have developed an over-reliance on really sweaty exercise and HIIT workouts, and every exercise session is a marathon running training program. And I totally get why people do it, because it's really cost effective, you don't have to have a gym membership. And I also understand that most of the time people take on exercise as a way of burning calories. We want to get the most calorie burn out of our exercise session, and we hear that running and long cardio sessions are great for burning calories. So now we have the association that all exercise has to be exhaustive, it has to be sweaty, and it has to elicit the most calorie burn possible. So this is my mountain, and here I stand and here I will die. It is going to, in the long term, impede your weight loss goals rather than help them, especially when you put them in conjunction with an extreme calorie deficit. Stop it. Come here. What, you want the stick? Take it then. Have that then. So the majority of the time, the women, specifically the women that I've worked with, will formally spend most of their time trying to adhere to the most strict, restrictive calorie diets, as well as pounding miles and miles, all in the effort to shed as much weight as possible. And it's really taking the exercise more, eat less to the total extreme. There are 3 ways of creating a deficit. Burn more calories by taking on more exercise, you can consume less calories by eating less food, and then also you can do a bit of both. However, lest we forget, as a reminder, your body is a homeostasis machine. So not only is it going to slow down when you give it less energy, but it's going to also slow down when you burn more energy. It works both ways. So unless you're looking at a way of progressing those long bloody runs you're doing regularly, your body just adjusts its energy accordingly to factor in what you're doing. And to get this abundantly clear, we really need to look at the difference between fat loss and weight loss. For the love of all things holy, do some resistance training. Basically, this means putting your body under load. You are still burning calories. We should always be endeavoring to increase our muscle mass, or at very least keeping our lean muscle tissue. The thing with muscle tissue is it's expensive. It's expensive to build, it's expensive to keep. And the currency we use is calories. Let's just take a theoretical woman. She's the same woman, and we're gonna just do 2 different journeys with her. Woman 1 eats regularly, she eats enough protein within her total calorie needs, she eats a little of what she likes, and she lifts weights 3 times a week. Same woman regularly skips meals, binges on foods that she's regularly denying herself, and powers through 30 miles a week. Doesn't look actually at the setup of her calories, just knows she needs to eat less of them. Which method do you think is going to take this woman closer to her goals? I know you don't want to look like a bodybuilder. Of course you don't. Putting on noticeable, significant amounts of muscle tissue is a really deliberate process. It's intentional, and it's done in a calculative and consistent way. Consistent being the operative word here. You're not going to be getting your bodybuilding pro card by eating a little bit more in the way of protein and prioritizing weight-bearing exercises. Do you want to go? He wants to go. So my 4th tip to speed up your metabolism is to reduce your stress. I am not going to sit here and talk to you about the effects of cortisol and how it impacts on weight loss, because that is going to take us down a whole nother video that would take a lot of time. What I'd really like to do is just appeal to your primal better self, and to give you some really solid tips that you can implement very easily into your everyday life. Now, the fact is, we do live in a completely mental world at the moment. The majority of the clients I work with are highly driven women who have got very young families at home and are very, very busy progressing through their careers. So on both ends, our time and our emotional resources are stretched. Couple that together with the kind of hustle nature that we live in, where we are glorifying going without meals, glorifying burning the midnight oil, doing excessive amounts of hours outside our contracted time that we're not getting paid for. No emphasis at all on sleep, no emphasis at all on getting nutritious food in. We are overstimulating ourselves during the day by drinking copious amounts of coffee just to get through a 75-hour day, and then come the evenings, we're so wired from work, we then drink wine to suppress everything, to start relaxing us. and then we're falling asleep on the sofa before our baby wakes us up 25 times a night. You know, the whole big compound effect is a lot. And then that's pile on top of that the insanity that is women being sold to that they should always be on like this really extreme weight loss program. All of this together is just, it compounds into like this really difficult place to be, where we're kind of fighting against our body. And the thing is, our body just wants to work with us and is always going to adapt, and you're just effectively training your body to live in this state of chronic stress. And then we're wondering why it's not responding to anything we're doing to lose weight. What you can do is just start from the ground up and build yourself a really good baseline from which that you can just keep on building to, making small changes as and where you can. And that's basically what we've been talking about through the whole of this video, isn't it? Let's recap everything that we've gone over. Number one, reverse diet. Spend a little bit of time putting your weight loss goals on the back burner and gradually start upping the amount of calories you're eating. And pair that with your food quality. So start eating a serving of protein with each of your meals. You know, team this up with some colour too. Put some extra vegetables on your plate and eat more whole food. But this isn't diet culture. It's bonkers nowadays that we live in a world that caters to so many hyper palatable foods that we're conditioned to eating really sweet foods, really convenience foods, foods that are just mass produced. And so now when we eat an apple or a handful of nuts, we consider ourselves eating diet food, and that's just not the case. It's just eating whole food. It doesn't mean taking out all the fun hyper palatable foods. It just means making sure that they're not the majority of our diet. And take up some resistance training. Just bench some of your longer running workouts and just start putting your body under resistance. So start with body weight exercises. I'll put some cards here, some free videos that I've done just to give you some exercise motivation, and do the smallest things that you can to counteract your stressful lifestyle. So reduce the amount of caffeine and the amount of alcohol you're drinking. Just half it. When you are on the sofa at night and your eyes are starting to go to bed. Take that as an opportunity to just simply go to bed. Not re-wake yourself up by picking up your phone and starting to scroll and start opening up the work laptop again. And if you really are insistent upon getting cardio in, go for walks. Just start going for long, ditch the running, just go for long, gentle walks. Now I'm going to give you a bonus 5th tip for boosting your metabolism, and it is, to my mind, the most important one. If you've got a problematic relationship with food, fix it. This is the priority here, and this is actually the bulk of my coaching deals with women who've actually over time developed really unhealthy habits when it comes to their nutrition and their beliefs around the foods that they should or shouldn't be eating. You can have the best strategy in the world, you can have the best workout program, you can have the best macros in the world, but actually if you are constantly sabotaging yourself by your own warped, skewed views of what you should and shouldn't be doing, then you just can't be consistent, and it's just going to moot any strategy. Stop leaning in harder to strategy, because that's not where the answer lies. We can pair strategy with the art of mindset and managing that and putting it all together. Right, so I feel like this has been a bit of a long one, but I think it's an important one, and I'm hoping it's given you a little bit of peace and a little bit of clarity of some of the things that perhaps you might be doing that you can change up. But if anything, I'm hoping it's just going to open up a whole bunch of further videos that we could really dive into to help you get yourself on an even keel and get you losing the weight that you want to in the way that's most optimal for you. I just thought if you wanted to have some exercise and some food inspiration, then go ahead and download my ebook. If you go to my website, I'll put the link below, but you can download for free my free recipe book, and it's got something like, I think 12 or 14 macro tracked recipes for you, and it's also got a free workout in there for you as well. I'm going to be taking it off my website in about a month, so now's the time to get it. Thank you so much for being here. You can check out some more videos by me here. You can also subscribe, and do me a favor, if you've liked this video, please just give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment below so I can get to know you. Until next time, thank you for joining me. I have not got the words to express how irritating trying to make a video with you is. No, please don't. Max! Come here. Lie down. Lie down. Every time I press play, you start woof woof woofing. Shush. Sit. That would take a lot of time. Sit! No, not going to move now? Oh, now you want to be quiet. Okay, bye.